I'm marrying a rich doctor. You take care of the twins. Chloe said that, laughing at us as if we were a joke. Next to her, the man also wore an unpleasant smirk. There's no way I could leave my precious two with such people. Really? I'd be overjoyed. If they're willing to leave them with me, I'd be happy to take care of them. With that thought, I replied with a smile. But on one condition, you must never appear before me or the kids again. Yeah, that's fine. I have no interest in those kids anyway. Chloe said, laughing as she left. As I watched her back, the twins came running to me. Can we stay here? Yes, of course. From today, you'll live with Grandma. Yeah. We want to live with Grandma. To think these adorable twins were considered unwanted. I embraced them tightly, swearing to myself that I would make them happy. Before I knew it, 15 years had passed. Now living a quiet, retired life, someone came to visit me. Hey! Give me back my twins! My name is Emily Green. I'm a 60-year-old housewife who works at a factory. I have a son named Brian, and my husband passed away a few years ago. My husband's family has owned the factory for generations, and that's where he and I met. He approached me while I was working hard, and we quickly fell in love. After a few years of dating, we got married. Then we got Brian. Dad, my dream is to take over the factory when I grow up. So, I want to learn everything I can. Brian inherited his father's kindness and my seriousness, making him an excellent child, if I may say so. Having been around the factory since he was young, Brian was beloved by everyone there. I want to work at the factory after I graduate from middle school. What? What are you talking about? Maybe because of that, Brian looked up to everyone at the factory, and at one point, he wanted to start working right after middle school. However, our factory is large, and we have contracts with several major corporations, so there's no shortage of income. Plus, Brian is smart enough to aim for a prestigious university. As parents, we hoped he would go to college. We really hope you'll go to college, given the opportunity. No, I want to start working at the factory as soon as possible. No matter how much we tried to persuade him, Brian was adamant, leaving us worried. But then, someone convinced Brian for us. Brian, you should go to college. Ethan Williams said that, who joined our factory right out of high school. He was close in age to Brian, and they spent a lot of time together. You'll learn things I can't teach you. Use that knowledge to grow this factory even bigger and make our name known worldwide. Because those words came from him, Brian listened. And so, he went to college. After studying business in college, Brian used his knowledge to secure new contracts, improving the factory's performance even further. I believed we could all live happily ever after, managing the factory together. But just when I thought so, my husband fell ill. He collapsed at the factory and never regained consciousness, passing away. From now on, I'll protect both the factory and you, Mom. In the midst of everyone's grief, Brian, who had grown up, supported me and took firm control of managing the factory. Brian has since married and is now the father of the twins, Madison and Sophia. Grandma, we came to visit. You both did well to come. Take your time and relax here. Both twins are adorable, with Madison being serious and Sophia being kind. They both adore me and hug me every time they visit. Their cuteness made me forget the sadness of losing my husband. Mom, how long are you going to work? I plan to work as long as I can. I don't want to be a burden to you in the future. So, I am still actively working at the factory. Thanks to that, I've been living a fulfilling life. It's nice to take it easy once in a while. One day, on my day off, I was planning to read a book, taking a break from the factory, when suddenly the doorbell rang. Oh, who could that be? Suddenly, the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting any visitors, so I checked the camera to see who it was, puzzled. Huh? Madison? Sophia? It was the twins. Surprised, I immediately opened the front door and welcomed them inside.
What's the matter, you two? Where's your mom?
I looked around, but there was no sign of any adults. Could it be that these 5-year-old children came here all by themselves? With that thought, I asked the twins.
Mom said we should go to Grandma's house today.
She said she's too busy to take care of us today. From their detailed story, it seems that Chloe, their mother, and my daughter-in-law told them to go to my house and locked them out. It had been snowing since morning, and it was very cold outside. Yet, she let the children walk here by themselves, even if it was within walking distance.
Were you cold? I'll make some warm cocoa for you. Yay! We love cocoa. Thank you, Grandma.
While serving the twins warm drinks, I tried calling Chloe. But she didn't seem to be picking up. So, I decided to contact Brian.
What? Madison and Sophia are there.
Brian picked up immediately, and he was very surprised when I explained the situation. Brian has been on a business trip since last week and is not currently home. He was supposed to return today, but wouldn't make it until the evening. I'd rush over right now if I could, but I'm still at the business trip location and it seems impossible. Could you look after the two of them until I get there?
Yes, that's fine.
I accepted Brian's request, feeling sorry for him. After all, I had no plans for the day. Spending the day with my adorable granddaughters turned out to be a pleasure for me.
Thank you. I'll handle things with Chloe, so don't worry.
Brian said that and hung up the phone. Suddenly feeling a gaze, I turned around to find the twins looking at me with an uncertain expression.
Let's play together with Grandma until your dad comes. Can you tell me what games you like? Yay! We're happy to play with Grandma. Well, we want to play video games.
Then, for a while, we played video games together. Soon, I got a call from Brian. It seems like Chloe turned off her phone, and I can't get in touch with her either.
I see. Don't worry, I'll take good care of the twins, so take your time coming back. That's really helpful. Thanks, Mom.
After hanging up, I sighed. What could Chloe be doing? At times like this, it might be good to get in touch with her family. But according to Brian, she's estranged from her own family. So, it seems she hardly ever contacts them. It's unlikely her family knows anything.
Hey, do you know what your mom usually does? Did she tell you anything?
Unable to come up with a good idea, I decided to ask the twins. Mom's not interested in us. There's someone more important to her than us. I felt a bad premonition from their words. I wondered if she might be cheating. Perhaps it would be best to investigate. While thinking about this, I made sure to entertain the twins so they wouldn't feel anxious.
Thanks for waiting and for looking after the two. Ah, Dad's back. Dad, welcome back.
A few hours later, Brian arrived. Seeing their father, the twins ran towards him joyfully. Welcoming Brian, who looked tired, I felt soothed by the sight of the twins. Did you manage to get in touch with Chloe? No, not yet. Actually, I've been thinking about the future. Brian spoke as if he was carrying a heavy burden. Depending on Chloe's response, I might need to take the twins and stay here.
You're always welcome to come back here.
I readily agreed to Brian's words. His expression softened a bit. I felt relieved but also angry at Chloe for pushing Brian to this point. A few hours passed. By the time it was completely dark outside, the doorbell rang. I've come to pick up the twins. There stood Chloe, twirling her dyed hair. I find myself getting irked by her, who doesn't even try to hide her bothersome attitude. Before I could react.
Chloe! What have you been doing all this time?
Brian, with an angry face, came forward. Chloe seemed surprised, not expecting Brian to be there. Chloe's eyes are wide open. Why is Brian here?
Just answer me. I was called out by some moms from school, so I was with them.
Confronted by Brian, Chloe replied with a look of annoyance.
Then why didn't you contact me?
My phone had died. Chloe casually excuses herself in response to Brian's questioning. Faced with her evasion, Brian lets out a deep sigh.
Sorry for the trouble. Let's go home.
He apologized to me, then left with the twins who seemed unhappy to leave. It was the next day.
Oh, how unusual!
I received an unexpected call from Chloe.
Hey, mother-in-law. Thanks to you meddling, Brian got mad at me. Excuse me?
If you had just quietly looked after the twins without making a fuss, none of this would have happened. Before I can even interject, Chloe starts complaining. I was momentarily stunned by her audacity but retorted.
First off, it's your fault for locking the twins out. And you should have at least let me know beforehand.
It was a good thing I just happened to be at home this time. If I hadn't been home, those kids might have been left out in the cold.
What? Are you getting mad now? This is why I can't stand old ladies,
Chloe said before abruptly hanging up. What is she thinking? I sighed in frustration at her attitude. Then, my phone rang again, displaying Ethan's name.
Actually, I went on a trip and I'd like to give you a souvenir. Do you have time later? Oh, that's lovely. I have time, so please come over.
Ethan has always been like a son to me. He started working at our factory after his parents died in a car accident when he was in high school. His parents were colleagues of ours, so I've looked after him in many ways. Brian seems to think of Ethan like a brother. Sorry for bothering you. Emily, you look tired. Is everything all right? Ethan asked with concern when he arrived. Yes, just a bit. Would you mind listening to me for a while?
Of course.
So, I vented to Ethan. He listened and nodded along. That does sound concerning. He mused after hearing me out.
I know a detective. I'll see if they can investigate.
Really?
That would be great. It's no problem. You're like a mother to me, Brian is like a brother, and the twins are like my nieces. I'd do anything for my family.
Him laughing like that made him seem somehow reliable. A few days after that incident.
Mom, could you take care of the twins this coming Saturday?
Brian asked if I could look after the twins on Saturday. He sounded tense, but I agreed. On the day, Brian, looking like he had made some decisions, and the sleepy twins arrived early in the morning. Brian, what's wrong? Did something happen? I couldn't help but ask.
I'll tell you when I get back. Be good, okay?
With a smile at the twins, Brian left. We watched Brian until he was out of sight. They was holding on to the belief that he would return today. Daddy's gone. Will he come back soon?
Yes, he'll surely return soon.
However, Brian never returned to our home again.
What? No, that can't be true. Are you sure it was Brian?
Brian had been involved in an accident in a hot spring town and did not make it back. It was a difficult time.
Please, say it's not true. Daddy, Daddy. Wake up, Daddy.
Losing a son and their father, the twins and I could only cling to Brian's cold body, crying.
Why did you have to leave such adorable daughters behind? It's too soon.
Ethan supported us during this time, handling all the necessary arrangements. The factory workers also came to offer their condolences, comforting our family.
What is his wife doing? Her husband has just passed away.
Chloe was having shown no presence during this time. She did not contact us and seemed to have vanished after the funeral. Maybe it's better that she's gone. I thought that, feeling indignant at her actions. However, her absence meant we were spared from her disrespectful behavior, which was a small relief. With those thoughts, I continued to look after the crying twins. Who could that be? Later, when things had somewhat settled down, the doorbell rang. Checking the camera, it was Chloe.
Chloe, where have you been all this time?
Oh, hi. Long time no see. I opened the door with anger, only to find Chloe and a flashy dressed man standing there. Realizing my worst fears were true, I somehow felt a cold calmness instead of anger.
What do you want now? To think you'd have the nerve to show up.
Wow, scary. Oh, this is my boyfriend. He's a rich doctor. Chloe seemed unfazed by my cold demeanor. She smugly boasted about the man with her.
Were you cheating on Brian while he was still here?
It's not cheating. He was my true love, she claimed, laughing alongside the man next to her.
So, I came here today because I have a favor to ask of you, mother-in-law. What is it? The twins will be in the way of my remarriage, so I don't want them anymore. Could you take them off my hands?
Her words almost made me explode with anger. What did she just say? Did she just say she didn't want her own daughters? Those thoughts ran through my mind, leaving me speechless. But then,
I'm getting remarried to a rich doctor. The old lady take care of the twins.
Chloe mocked me with a laugh. And the man beside her also wore a nasty smirk. There was no way I could leave my precious two with such people.
Is that so? I'd be delighted.
If they were willing to leave them with me, I would gladly take care of them. Thinking this, I replied with a smile.
But on one condition, never show your face in front of me or the kids again.
Sure, that's fine. I have no interest in those kids anyway, Chloe said, laughing as she left. As I watched her back, the twins ran up to me. Can we stay here?
Yes, of course. Let's live with Grandma from today on. Yeah. We want to live with Grandma.
To think such adorable twins were unwanted. Holding them tight, I vowed to make them happy no matter what.
Grandma will come home early today. We'll make dinner, so wait for us. Okay, I understand.
Then, before I knew it, 15 years had passed. Having retired, I cheerfully saw the twins off as they went about their day. We had completely recovered from our loss and were living a normal daily life.
Now, what shall I do today?
I was leading a peaceful retired life when someone came to visit. Having grown quite old, I was spending my time leisurely, without pushing myself too hard. That's when the doorbell rang.
Oh, who could it be? Open up. You've got 2 people in there, right?
When I asked the visitor through the camera, the person just yelled back without answering. It seemed to be a woman, but I had no recollection of her. Wondering who it could be.
Hey! Give me back my twins!
Hearing those words, I finally realized that the woman was Chloe. She had aged and withered so much in these 15 years that I genuinely didn't recognize her at first.
This is too much for me alone,
I muttered to myself and called some people. They arrived within minutes and surrounded her.
What are you doing here now?
Ethan was the first to shout. He glared at Chloe with an angry expression.
What do you mean what? I've come to take back my daughters.
Despite being intimidated by Ethan's aura and the number of people, Chloe screamed back defiantly.
Those kids are my children. So, give them back to me.
She had a reason for her outburst. She must have seen them on TV. The twins had become quite the celebrities, each in their own right. Madison as a popular idol. And Sophia as a talented actress. They were about to appear together on a show, having recently been featured as beautiful twins. Chloe must have seen that and decided to show up.
What happened to that wealthy doctor you were going to marry?
I asked Chloe without going outside. She twisted her face uglily in response.
I dumped that guy a long time ago.
She began to ramble about her circumstances, even though no one asked. Apparently, the man she brought that day wasn't a doctor but a fraudster. Strictly speaking, it wasn't that boyfriend, but his brother who was the real doctor.
That man was after Brian's fortune.
Chloe had been approached because of Brian's wealth, stemming from managing a large factory. After Brian's death and Chloe receiving the inheritance, she and her boyfriend, who had deceived many women to amass money, went on a lavish spree until they were finally caught and arrested. Furthermore, the boyfriend was disowned by his brother after it was discovered he had been impersonating him. Having lost everything, Chloe shamelessly showed up at this house.
Those twins are originally my daughters. So, I'm taking them back. There's no way we'd allow that. Right. We won't let anyone harm our adorable daughters,
Ethan exclaimed, and everyone from the factory who had rushed over shouted in agreement. Yes, those twins were precious children raised by all of us at the factory. We had no intention of handing them over to such a woman. Everyone, I have something to say. The day Chloe abandoned the twins, I made a resolution to raise them, but, considering my age, I called on everyone at the factory for help.
What a woman! Truly terrible! Emily, leave it to us. Let's raise these children together as a factory family.
And so, we all came together to raise the twins, taking turns caring for them, playing, and going out. Thanks to everyone's cooperation, the twins, who were initially withdrawn, gradually opened up.
You know, we have dreams we want to pursue. We promised Dad too. We'll definitely make them come true.
Eventually, they started talking about their dreams. They want to become an idol and an actress. Hearing this, we all learned together from TV, accompanied them to singing lessons and acting practice, supporting them as much as we could.
I'll only thank you for letting go of those two. Thanks to that, the twins were able to achieve their dreams.
Had they stayed with Chloe, it's uncertain if they could have realized their dreams or even grown up healthy.
So, you show up now and demand them back? Who do you think you are? Quiet. I am their mother. Those twins have a duty to support me.
Everyone present showed anger at her words. To think she has the audacity to call herself mother. That's when we heard it.
Who's claiming to be whose mother? We don't have an ugly mother like you.
The voices came. Looking over, we saw the twins, with expressions of disgust.
Madison. Sophia. It's been a while. As expected of my children, you've both grown into beauties,
Chloe said with a full smile as she spoke to them. The twins' faces grew even more disgusted.
And who's the mother? The one who treated us like nuisances and left us out in the cold? The one who abandoned us right after Dad was gone?
The twins asked with cold voices. Although they were young at the time, it seemed they remembered everything their mother did.
Well, there were circumstances.
Chloe stumbled over her words in response to the twins.
We remember clearly. How you neglected us. How you betrayed Dad. And how you contributed to the reason Dad was gone.
At those words, Chloe's eyes widened as if they might fall out. Brian had long been aware of her affair. That day, in the hot spring town, he confronted Chloe, who had been on a cheating trip. Chloe was making excuses even then.
I'll get a divorce and make sure to get alimony.
Disgusted, Brian attempted to leave. However, the mention of alimony panicked them, and they tried to stop Brian by grabbing his arm. In his attempt to shake them off, Brian lost his balance, stepped onto the road, and was hit by a truck.
How do you know about this?
The twins and Chloe, shocked by the revelation of what happened 15 years ago, murmured in trembling voices.
I was the one who investigated.
The one who responded to her was Ethan. He had desperately researched to avenge his important younger brother, finding a witness and uncovering this truth through sheer persistence. Ideally, this should have been reported to the police. However, by that time, the investigation had already been closed, and since it was only based on eyewitness testimony, there was no evidence. Moreover, we had no intention of getting involved with Chloe anymore, so we chose to remain silent.
We will never forgive you, and we certainly won't support you. If you still insist on taking us back, then pay back all the child support you owe.
Chloe appeared flustered by their words. We were delighted to see the twins all grown up.
So, what will you do? Or should we call the police and have you taken away?
The twins pressed, and Chloe, saying you must be joking, fled. Then, applause broke out from everyone at the factory for the twins.
You've grown up so much. Heh, well, yeah. We'll definitely repay you for everything from now on.
His face close to tears. He had protected and raised the twins like a father, in Brian's place. That's why he was probably as moved as I was.
Oh, Ethan, don't cry. It's embarrassing. I'm not crying,
Ethan retorted, and laughter filled the room. A warm and happy scene unfolded before us. That made me smile as well. A few days later.
By the way, that mother who was screaming got arrested, it seems.
I heard too. She tried to approach us again after that day, and the police finally caught her. Oh dear. The twins shared the news about Chloe. After that day, it was revealed she was an accomplice of her boyfriend, and the police arrested her. Though she claimed her boyfriend was the scammer, Chloe was involved as well. She engaged in swindling activities and was on the run from the police.
Thanks to everyone at the factory acting that day, there were plenty of witnesses. They found her quickly.
The incident was reported by witnesses. That led to a detailed investigation, and Chloe was sent to prison. She won't be getting out anytime soon.
That's good. Now that the police have caught her, we can go to the shooting without worries. Yeah. Make sure to watch, Grandma.
Given her character. When she gets out, she might brag I'm the mother of the beautiful twins. But that will only backfire on her.
Of course, I'll definitely watch. It's the culmination of your lives, after all.
The content being filmed is about their entire lives. They lost their father at age 5, were abandoned by their mother, and were raised by the people at their grandmother's workplace. It's the story of their rise to the top from such adversity. The more Chloe claims to be the mother, the more disdain she'll draw from those around her. She's made her bed. Now, she can lie in it.
That's right. And with the broadcast, the factory is going to get even more popular. We'll have to put Ethan to work then.
Currently, Ethan, who took over after Brian, is running the factory.
I'll protect everything.
That's what he said, and he continues to keep us safe. We decided to express our gratitude to him together, discussing it with smiles on our faces. After the drama aired, it became a huge hit. People sympathized with the twins' situation and directed their disgust towards their mother. Apparently, some hardcore fans dug up information on Chloe, even finding out she's in prison. Oh dear. Then she's only got hell to look forward to when she gets out. No one's waiting for her. That infamous boyfriend, involved in multiple frauds, has a long sentence ahead, and it's unlikely he'd come for Chloe, who once abandoned him. Regarding her family, after that day 15 years ago, I did some digging and confronted them. Her parents had long since disowned her, knowing nothing about Chloe's situation.
To be disowned for causing too much trouble. If only she had learned her lesson back then. Indeed.
So, no one from her family will come for her. She'll likely spend the rest of her life in solitude, regretting her actions.
I feel like we've finally gotten our revenge,
Ethan said, looking as if a burden had been lifted off his shoulders. He has always acted in our best interest and worked tirelessly to protect the factory. That's why the twins regard Ethan as a father figure.
Thank you for everything. Really.
Ethan smiled shyly in response to my words.
So, Emily, I have something I need to discuss with you. What's up? I'm thinking about leaving the factory.
His words didn't shock me. I had a feeling this was coming and had heard he was handing over his responsibilities to a capable young successor.
Now that the twins have achieved their dreams and I've left the factory in reliable hands, I think it's time for me to pursue my own dreams. If that's what you've decided, I won't stand in your way. Thank you for everything.
As I smiled, Ethan's face lit up with happiness.
Then, first off, would you join me on a trip? Going on a family trip has been a dream of mine.
Ethan's smile was childlike. After staring at his grin for a few seconds, I too smiled and nodded in agreement.
If it's a family trip, We must invite the twins as well. Yes, we'll have to pick a place where we can all relax.
Sometime later, the four of us set off on our trip. During the trip, the twins and I surprised Ethan with a gift. His tears ended up making us all laugh.
It's been 15 years since you've been gone. I wonder if you and Dad are getting along over there.
I had come to visit the graves of my husband and Brian. Whether I join them soon or much later remains to be seen.
The girls have grown up to be magnificent, fulfilling their dreams.
Thanks to that drama, Madison has become an even more popular idol. And she is planning a national tour. Sophia has flown overseas after receiving an offer to act in an international film.
Brian, Ethan has taken revenge for you.
After leaving the factory, Ethan has been enjoying his passion for travel. Everyone has managed to seize their dreams.
So, don't worry. Just patiently wait for me to come over there.
With those words, I get up. What will I do now? Until my time comes, I'll live life to the fullest. I believing that to be my way of giving back.
Today's the day Sophia will call. I need to get back and prepare.
Muttering to myself, I start walking home.
Oh, Grandma. Madison? Aren't you in the middle of your national tour? I was nearby and wanted to see you. Plus, I wanted to join the video call with Sophia.
Madison says, flashing a wonderful smile. Surely, Sophia will share the same grin. Fueled by the smiles of these two, I continue to live on.